What is up, everybody? It's Alfred. I'm back with another video. I just want to pump one out before, things change and all. Single raise pot on board 2. Check, check, flop. I'm going to block turn. Kind of like a value bet here. Don't expect him to be checking many. King X can get value from things like 8, 9. And even deny equity from hands such as like Jack X, Jack 9 maybe. But I assume all of those will bet the flop anyways. So most likely he doesn't have much. Anyway, yeah, let's just get into it. I think I'm done talking about the whole Ontario situation. Pretty good semi-bluff right here. We can just go for like a... I think I'll have two sizings here, but mostly just the 2/3 size just to simplify. Pretty good semi-bluff with the gut shot. Sorry about that. And same thing here against like a rec. I think I just bet a third here pretty much all the time, and having the bottom pair back to flush draw makes a pretty good semi-bluff. We also like can deny equity from overcards, right? When we get him to fold stuff like ace jack, ace 10, stuff like that. Anything that has equity against us is a win. Although those are like hands at 3-bet pre again, but like, yeah, just bear with me. We just got to deny equity from any overcards. I'm tempted to call here. It's because pretty good flop on board 1, even though it's multi-way. We got to be careful, but I will be betting here. And I think I'm just going to be calling another street on board 3. And we do pick up a gut shot, but I just don't think that's enough to continue, so easy fold. And we will be calling here, like I said. Interesting. We had a call from the short stack. And unfortunate, our call was good, but he ended up rivering us, so nothing we can do there. We can take this two ways. We can just either try to get to showdown right now, or just try to build a pot with our equity. I think since he's short stack, I don't mind, like, and we just block too much of the, we block a lot of the semi-bluff calling range. I think he has a queen that he's never folding, so with that in mind, I think I'm just going to be checking. And pretty good turn to keep barreling on. Okay, we just call this, of course. And turns out he just does have 7, 8. I think maybe we can be betting there. It's just that I just think that he, with his short stack, he has too many like queen X that he never folds. So I just prefer to try to get to showdown there. If we were much deeper, I'd consider like betting again, which is what you're supposed to do. Sorry, just my drink. Unfortunately, no action with pocket kings. And yeah, other than that, like my other results, this is what 25 NL in the month looking like. Pretty good win rate, but I'm like 7 buy-ins above EV. Been playing on Bodog as well, and that has not been going well. Like this month, I only played 2K hands, and same thing, I'm down like 7. I'm down like 5 buy-ins or something, and we're way above, sorry about that, way below EV. That's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. Saved all my run good for Pokerstars. It's kind of annoying because then, like, you know, gotta transfer money on Bodog and stuff. Like, that's just annoying. That's probably gonna be. I'm just banking on the fact that these unregulated sites like ACR and Bodog will just continue to operate normally in Ontario. And that's probably where I'm going to start playing more. 5-3 suited, I'm not really going to call because like the guy is short stack and he's opening 3 big blinds. Gonna 3-bet 7s here, like a low frequency. That's their low frequency right there. And I think I'm going to go for a range bet here on board 3. We have a big blind tank here. And I think with a spade, we just continue. We can actually call like cold 4 bets here, actually. But I just don't, I think it's a punt in 10 NL. But I think we have to call once we 4-bet, like we commit to that. And we flop pretty damn well. And considering a fold here, and I think this is just the bottom of my calling range. Like, I mean, Queen 9 suited is the bottom of my calling range here, so we just gotta fold. I think once we 4-bet, and once we 3-bet, we have to call the 4-bet here. Gonna call. Pocket 10s, like Beat says, pocket queens, that's pretty much it. We still get value from things like ace queen suited, but most likely has something like aces and kings, to be honest. Even queens is there. Let's just hope that this person doesn't back raise. I think I'm just gonna be betting small again. Like, he most likely has something like ace king, aces, kings, and that's pretty much it at this point. If he folds here, he most likely has ace king. And you're gonna fold here against a half pot bet into 2 people. Oops. Even though like it is a good board to float, we just have this person behind us that doesn't make it optimal. And when the jack peels on the river, it's just the worst. And he does fold. Okay with that result. And looks like in 10NL I'm break even after 4K hands this month. Pretty surprising. Went on a pretty, not downswing per se, but yeah. Had a few losing sessions here and there, but we are up 26 big blinds in 4K hands, which is pretty normal. You do go for long stretches where like nothing happens sort of thing and you just pay rake. Almost done the rake back challenge. $50 more to go. And pretty standard spot here. 3-bet. Did see a call on the paired board. I'll be betting half pot here. You could bet like half pot. You can even go up to like 2/3 sometimes. We find a call, which isn't ideal, and at this point we just check and hope for showdown. It just sucks that we lose to his like 6s, 7s, 8s here. Like, we can't really do much here with ace king. And we can try to bluff ace high here, so that's what I'm gonna do. Don't think queen high has any sort of showdown here. Pretty nice hand, ace king again. And king 10 suited is also nice. Got king queen off in the big blind. We'll start playing as a call. Looks like a nice board, but this board heavily favors early position. Just by the sheer amount of ace king they have, like, we're capped in the situation. But nonetheless, we just have to call. And play checks. Gonna be calling the 10-9 suited. Interesting check, check, and on the river it's the 8 of clubs. Thinking maybe my first instinct is to block here, but I think I'm just gonna play check calls. I'm gonna call with the gut shot on board 2. And interesting that he goes for this sizing here. I think with just our hand and like a blocker effect, we just have to call here. Like I think we just fold king queen without any clubs. Like if we had king queen of, like if we had like the king of spades, queen of diamonds, we'd fold. But with the club, when we're blocking all this, like we block so much of his value, we just have to call. And he does have the ace king. That's like probably one of the weirdest checks I've seen on the turn. Like you're still getting value from hands like this. There's hands like 10x Something like king 10 you can get value from. Even like 9-10. So just not really in favor. He's just hoping that I bluff the river. Then this river comes and you decide to go for an overbet when the flush comes in. Just not sure how ideal that is, to be honest. I'm not really a fan of that play. Pretty sure you're supposed to be betting ace king there 100%. Not really 100%, but like a lot. Maybe with the king of clubs, like it'll be fine. Like having like higher frequency checks, but I think you're still supposed to be betting there, especially in these stakes. 3-bet, squeeze, and we call. We get this board. And we're just gonna try and check it down. He's probably gonna bet pot here if he has something like ace X. I'm not really gonna call this, we're just never good. Against a block bet lead, gonna raise a bit. A little bit too big there. And a6 off, we'll call. Flopping top pair, I think we're playing mostly checkbacks here. If he does check. Interesting pot size bet, we can't really go anywhere. And here we go. Hopefully he doesn't bet again. And I'm gonna be playing a lot of checks here. Like range betting here is also fine. I just like exploitatively, I think I'm just gonna be folding here. I don't really see him like pot betting anything weak. And we're gonna be calling. Maybe something like king 10 suited gets there, now like 10x gets there. We just want to get to showdown. Just interesting how he snap checks. Like, now it's kind of weird because I don't really expect him to start value betting things like king queen, right? Like if it's something like king queen that called pre, something like king jack, it'd just be weird how he's turning it into a bluff because he just has like so much showdown value against hands like this. So on the river, it's just, I'm not really sure what he's representing here with like a half pot bet. But like intuitively trying to think of bluffs here, it just doesn't really make much sense. Maybe he has something like jack 10, etc. I just don't think we're beating a lot. He has to have like a complete airball here. He has to turn his like 7s, 5-7s like into a bluff, which I just don't see him doing. This play is okay actually, like the check back. Thinking about it. Calling here. And we do flop like a straight with a redraw. And just gonna go for this bet and we river the nuts. So we're just gonna go for a bet. No action. And we do get a call on board 3. And he has king 8. Go for a 3-bet here, he tank calls. Pretty much straightforward c-bet here in this spot. Gonna go half pot, he can go third. Or even bigger. And now on this turn we just kind of have to commit ourselves and play for stacks. He just have like a lot of like ace high floats here. He has his like ace jack, you know? And unfortunately we do get wrecked by his 2 pairs here, such as ace 10. Check back. I think that this board just favors our range, but with the ace high, I think that we have a bit too much showdown value where we don't really need to turn our hand into a bluff. And we have a pretty nice bluff catcher here. And yeah, like maybe we can deny equity from stuff like that, but like I said, we have like pretty much showdown value. I'm gonna go for a big bet here. Like an over, I was planning to go pot size, but I think over bets should be fine as well. Like we want to deny maximum equity from something like king jack suited that calls in a small blind. Or something like ace jack. Queen jack we can get value from still. Pretty nice flop here for the big blind. Like our hand's okay as well on this board. Like we have 2 overs and a backdoor flush. but we will be playing mostly checks. Like multi-way, we just need to be careful here. Interesting half pot bet. I feel that he's gonna be comfortable enough to start betting his pocket pairs here. If he has pocket like sixes, pocket sevens, etc., he might be comfortable to value bet. Other thing is that he does have stuff like 8-9 suited, like other suited combinations. We gotta hope that he has something like king queen. I just don't think people are like calling that in middle position, although it could be wrong. I'm going for a 4-bet on board 2. Gotta balance my timing tells. I guess a jam we're not supposed to fold, but do you think that they're jamming anything that isn't like, do you think they're jamming correctly? Because if they're jamming correctly, then they're jamming stuff like ace-5 suited. Okay, so then we get this pretty much low board, and there's like some strategies where you can just jam here with part of your range. Stuff like that needs protection, like pocket jacks. I don't think pocket tens gets in there, and I think normally you just go for like a half pot bet here. I mean, a quarter pot bet here most of the time, but you can also do things like a half pot bet. I'm just gonna play the simplified strategy and bet a quarter, and we just don't fold to any like raises or jams or anything. And he does call here. Turns like okay. Maybe he has ace jack suited that gets there, but yeah, it's okay. Not the best turn. On this turn, I'm pretty sure we're just gonna be checking here, as we do on like all overs and stuff. And he bets half pot, and now we just gotta go with our equity here and just YOLO jam. Hopefully he's betting correctly, where he bets stuff like, you know, all his bluffs like some ace queen suited, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it looks like he is betting correctly, and yeah, so let's just run it. He gets there, but then again, it's whatever. Can't really do much with that run out. Interestingly, I think king queen of diamonds is supposed to raise flop, but calling is also fine at some frequency. Gonna fold here. We can call like these kind of hands, like the small pocket pairs, mainly get value when you hit like your set. But since the 3 of diamonds out there, we won't get, the EV is much lower because the flush completes when the 3 of diamonds hits. There's that like theory behind it. Interestingly enough, that king queen suited hand, I think you're supposed to raise on the flop, like get it in on the flop sort of thing. Turn, not too sure. But I'd assume that just they'd want to take the free card, to be honest. Ace 10 suited is going to be one of my calls. Going to be 3-betting the ace king. And the ace 10 suited, actually I'm going to 4-bet it again. Just because, like, you know. And there's a board where we can go for a big bet. I just think that the ranges are much tighter here, that we can just comfortably bet these low boards. And against a jam, easy fold, right? And against this check raise, we just fold as well. Unfortunate, unfortunate, but what can we do? And we call here against a 4-bet jammer, and he just has ace king. Kind of expect hands like that. It's kind of obvious because like when they just jam something like ace king, just means that they're not really, they have like an easy decision and they're not really comfortable with their hands. So a lot of the time it's ace king. Pretty nice to win, get like a little rebate there. Pocket kings again. And middle pair, I think I'm mostly playing checks. Same thing on board 3. And we have to be very careful on this board because like a lot of straights are present, a lot of draws are present here. Like this lead makes perfect sense considering how good this board is for him. Nonetheless, with kings, we just have to call. It just seems especially strong since he's betting into 2 people. And like this cutoff range can have things like 8s, 7s. And I think we just have to fold on board 1. Sure, we have a bluff catcher, and we block things like king jack. Interesting turn now. If we think he's like, I don't think he defends anything with 9-6 suited. I think we just have to raise here for value. Sure, we just lose to 9-6 and like we want to stack sets here. I don't think we ever have like raises here on this turn though. In like theory, it's just more like street poker as I call it. And we have a boat here. Like he does have a lot of 8x here that he does decide to lead. Gonna go for a check call on board 3. We'll consider check raising when we have like a heart. And I'm just gonna go for a big sizing here, targeting that 8. Because I don't think people raise their trips enough. So I think we just gotta go for a big sizing. Flush gets in there and he does decide to slow down. We do river the straight, but it's a 4-4 flush straight. I'm just gonna go for a block. Unfortunate there, but it looks like we got a cheap showdown. And we have an ISO here. Not much promise. I think we're gonna check here. Once again, our hand is pretty strong. We don't really need to turn it into a bluff. Gonna open king 9 off. Seems a bit loose, but with this weaker player in the big blind should be fine. Then he goes for this bet on the river. I think with ace high we can call, but it's just this board is way too like connected for his limp calling range. Of course, he can limp call like some 10x here, even some like weird 9x, some 6-7 or something. Yeah, it just overall looks weird. We have to bank that he has an airball like king jack or king queen sort of thing, or maybe some random ace x. But I feel that like he has enough pairs in his range that I'm just not gonna call. And we see a half pot bet here. We're just gonna be playing calls. Hopefully we see a showdown. And I think on this river, I think I have to turn my hand into a bluff just because of like the sheer blockers I have. Is he willing to fold something like ace 2 pair here? That's the question. Let's just run the bluff here. And you get snapped off by 5-3 suited. Sucks to suck, but like, what can we do? King it off, I will be 3-betting some frequency. And we do flop the nuts. So I'm gonna go for like this big bet. Once again, these high Broadway cards like really favor us. We can go for like over bets here, mainly because like he'll have a lot of like flush draws here mainly, but also like some ace x like ace jack that he's scared to 3-bet. Going for a 3-bet here with the queen jack suited. Not ideal to be calling a 4-bet, but it is what it is. I think with the position, like, we can just play well. But I don't think we're ever supposed to be calling here. Yeah. I think we're supposed to be folding like 100%, but yeah, let's just play it. Mainly because like queen jack suited benefits a lot from making straights, right? And when against a 4-betting range, it consists of a lot of this like ace king, aces, kings, queens sort of thing. So it really blocks, like, they essentially block all the cards we need. Hopefully he has pocket tens and we're good. That's it. And we just pray for showdown. Or we like revert a jack or something. That's not what we wanted, but yeah. If he has kings, like, he'll like be so happy now because like king X with like the king of hearts. That's kind of what it looks like, to be honest. I think we're gonna have like a pretty bad, like a losing session of 2 buy-ins. But you know. And you have to go soon. The recording's 26 minutes. Okay. Let's try to finish up these like last few hands. We have a limper early position. And we have an ISO. It'll be interesting to watch this pot because I don't expect early position to have any folds. But interestingly enough, he does. Ace king in the middle position. I guess a pretty big 3-bet, but this I'm just closing my eyes, 4-betting and like jamming, calling a jam sort of thing. Kind of alarming though. That's almost like 4x. And like if he has aces, we just tag him as a nit and we move on, right? No stats on this guy, so we're just gonna play it like normally. Okay. Just a chop pot. And pretty good because we're trying to finish this challenge. Around $50 more to go of rake. Somehow, like, when I get lazy, I always end up playing like Tempest. Maybe I'll open up a side table for the next video, if there is a next video. Queens. Okay, let's just hope for no 5-bets. We want to see a fold or a call. This is like where the magic happens, you know what I mean? Like, this is where shit goes down when the button opens small blind 3-bets and then big blind 4-bets. Like, a lot of shit goes down there. Because like the ranges are very wide. And standard range bet on king high board. 3-bet pot, same stuff. Hopefully we hit a queen. Like, we can cold 4-bet things like king 10 suited, ace 10 suited, ace jack suited, that kind of stuff. So when you're cold 4-betting that like wide-ish, small blind is very incentivized to start jamming things like like you can jam things like ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited, ace jack suited, that kind of stuff. Even king queen suited. That's just how the ranges play out. Interesting lead on this deuce, this blank. He calls a range bet and decides, let's lead. Let's lead. Didn't RNG it, but, you know, can 3-bet this. He decides, let's lead, you know? You can't have ace king. You can't have kings here. The deuce, you know what? Like, I think I have more deuces than you, so let's lead. And he's right this time, so that's like some genius player there. Looks like we're gonna be down 2 buy-ins. Gonna have to end the video soon. Pot size bet, easy fold. Doesn't look like it has been a good year for me in 10 and L wise. The last, yeah, I think I played almost 10k hands this year, and it doesn't look too good. Looks like the heater is ending, that 30k hand heater. I guess this deep. I think it's just the first thing that's very interesting is that like his the first thing that's interesting is that he's only 3-betting 4x when we're 200 big blinds deep, and like normally you're supposed to raise your raise much bigger. I think I'm going to be calling here. And let's see here. What happened here? I bet small. He check raises. Easy fold now. And I think with aces, yeah, we're just going to be playing calls here. That sucks because like things like queen jack get there. Also has 6s and 7s, you know, which are supposed to jam this turn. 6s, 7s can jam and check at some frequency. How do my aces want to play? I think they just play jams, right? I think like we don't have a club, so I think we just play jams. No snap, that's good. Pretty straightforward play here. Once again, we have a king high board. We're gonna go for a range bet. And once again, we get snap called. You could have king queen, but it also does have. I think we just bet bigger here. And pray for a jack on the river. Unless it's king queen here, decides to jam. Yeah, like we're just not getting. Our 3-bet pots are not really going our way. But the reason why I'm double barreling here is because we need these kind of bluffs here for double barreling our kings and queens. We can't just be, you know, it becomes very exploitable when it's just start only double barreling like our nutted hands, ace king, ace, like that kind of stuff. Because we, like our middling pairs like ace queen, stuff like that are going to be checking back turn, right? Even like something like king 10 suited isn't really a 3 street hand, so. I'm pretty sure this guy's a reg as well. Okay, okay. Like, what's going on here? Why are people playing so aggressively? Just playing calls, of course. I'm just trying to slow down the pace here. It's cool that we beat like queen jack now. And it reduces his combos of 5s, you know? Because your main raises on this kind of board is going to be 5s. Maybe I'm supposed to 3-bet the flop. I'm trying to decide like what my betting size is going to be here. And like thinking about how his range is right now. Do we want to just like bet big and try to target his queen jack? I think I'm going to block here actually. He does have like a queen 10 that is, yeah, I just was not expecting that. Oh my god. So maybe the big bet was more optimal, you know? Now we're going to call 4-bet the aces. So I think I'm just gonna finish the 100 hands here, and then we'll just call it a day. Ace king suited is unopen. I mean ace king off. We got 7 deuce suited with a limp and an ISO. Like normally king 10 suited is gonna be a raise, like a 3-bet, but this guy's short stack. I'm gonna go for this weird ISO against Karen over here. Karen from Canada. And of course everybody calls. Maybe just gonna go for a small range bet here and hopefully Karen folds. Going for mostly checks here. This guy snap calls, man. People don't even consider anymore. They're just like, call. It's just every single time. How many times have we gotten raised? This guy's calling 9-7 suited pre. Sorry, I'm just a bit on tilt. And we will be calling here, like he can start betting his, delay betting his flush draws. And we have a pretty ideal bluff catcher here. I think people are just more inclined to bet their flush draws on the flop. Yeah, see, like he has this like backdoor flushes is what I mean. Is Karen? No. Pretty nice hand, but not ideal flop. Gonna go for a 3-bet here. I'm gonna go for a half pot bet here with the kings, especially since we're this deep. I will be playing for stacks and we have aces here. I don't give a damn. This guy's snap calling, so I'm just gonna be betting big on this turn. It doesn't seem like he's considering anything. And with the aces, just gonna walk. Either way, that stuff is good for the leaderboard, right? Oops. This video is getting hella long, almost 40 minutes. That's generally how long it takes to play the leaderboard though, the 600 hands. Checking. Although we can go for some range bets. I just think against these short stacks, like they just call way too much on the flop, you know? And we have a hand, like we can't really bluff later streets. That's why I just prefer checking a lot. We'll just call just to see, and he just have like queen 9 suited. Sorry, I'm going a bit on autopilot mode because I'm just rushing to finish this. I wasn't paying attention. And we will be calling the ace-10 off. Pretty nice flop. I think with like our ace-10, like our strong, our nutted 10s, we don't really go for check raises, but things with like 10, if we have like 10-8 of clubs, we'll go for a check raise, you know? Or like jack-10 of clubs, we'll go for a check raise. But with our strong ace-X, I think I'm just playing check calls mostly. And on this river, I think block's fine. Even big bets. He's saying he has like 9-8 here, or like some 8 ace-9, you know? Like that's what he's saying he has. Especially with like how fast he raised. That's what he's... Pay the man his money. Like, pretty obvious. And against Karen here, we're just gonna pod commit ourselves and like we're not folding to a jam, which just has way too much equity here. God, never mind. It's just that now he feels comfortable with his like pocket pairs. I assume he has stuff like 7s, 8s, etc., which we don't have much equity against. I'm not going to be playing check raises on board 2. We're mainly just playing check calls. Especially this deep. Like, it'll be suicide. But once we make the nut flush, we still don't play any like check raises, but I think this deep we will be. Like, I assume that this is just like a check call kind of board, but when we're this deep, we kind of want to get maximize our value. So, yeah. I don't really care about balance here because like I'm never going to see this guy ever again. And that's a clean river if I've ever seen one. If he has something like ace king, we want to get the maximum for that. He's definitely not capable of folding, so. And we just get snap called, and that's a great, nice way to pick up a big pot. Ace king, he probably has ace king, or he has a flush. Goddamn. Okay. Pretty good play by him though. Just calling. Okay, now we're gonna start sitting out, and yeah. Let's just try to win all the pots here. Okay, and another thing you can do like to study is just like look at population like tendencies, right? Like I think one thing you've noticed that people just don't like to fold flop much, so you got to commit to like these 3-barrel bluffs very often. Like this is where the magic happens, remember? This guy hasn't folded yet. He probably has like aces, but this time we're gonna fold the ace queen off. And looks like that's it. And yeah, we're down like 1.5 buy-ins. And once again, we'll check the like how I am lifetime. Maybe we've definitely dipped a bit. Yeah, like here we've dipped a bit. So overall, 36k hands. Sure. And I've been playing a lot of 25 and out. Like I was playing today. So yeah, pretty running well in that. This month I've been running super hot as well. I'm just gonna call here, or never mind. Yeah, running pretty hot here, and this year and 25 NL it's been going okay. I think I'm winning at like 5 big blinds per 100 or something. Yeah, there, like, or 4.5, it's whatever. Not the best, but like, you know, could be worse. All right, thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.